what is Crypto Titans, and why should somebody, other than you being an amazing person and leading the charge, should I spend my hard-earned money on Crypto Titans when there's a million other projects out there that I could be interested in?
Yeah, 100%. So quick 3-minute pitch, right? So Crypto Titans, it's a play-to-own turn-based battle game that we're setting in a distant world that we're calling Irio. So when you think about like some of the gameplay around Crypto Titans, we do liken it very much to Pokemon in terms of style and in terms of some of the game mechanics that you'll see as well, or even like games like Axie Infinity. We've got Titan NFT characters. You play with these characters in the game, and they're the ones that are actually battling within this world of Irio. The Titan characters that we have, these NFTs, they're all unique, and they're all unique as a result of DNA combinations that come from 8 primordial Titans of Chaos and Order. So this informs some of the lore and narrative that we have around Crypto Titans. When we say that every single Titan is unique, we mean their appearance is unique. So they're a combination of these primordials, so they all have different traits attached to them. They all have different powers. They all have different weapons, and some of these traits will come out during the gameplay as well. We have 3 different game modes for Crypto Titans. The game is currently being built at the moment. We're working with different gaming studios, and it's set for release Q1 2023. So as you go through the game, you've got the 3 different modes, and I can talk about each of those in detail a little bit later. But the first is just like an explore mode where you're going through the world of Irio. This is a free to play, but you'll be able to understand more about the game mechanics in this mode. The second is like the main battle mode that you have with Crypto Titans. So this will be like a 1v1, and this is where we say it's likened very much to Pokemon. The premise of that battle mode is try to reduce your opponent's HP to zero, and you're selecting different powers and weapons to do that as you go through the game. You'll be leveling up your Titan in this battle mode. And then the last mode that we have for Crypto Titans, the game, is the tournament mode. And that's where we really start to leverage our brands. We're really talking about Web 2 coming into the Web 3 space. And we're thinking about how Crypto Titans is able to move into an esports arena. So in this tournament mode, every single tournament will actually be a branded tournament. So it means that each tournament is going to be a totally different experience depending on who is sponsoring that tournament. And really crucially, it means that we're able to leverage on the assets that brands can bring to these tournaments, right? Being able to bring like large like prize pools, right, for these tournaments. Being able to actually work with us to make one-off branded assets, for example, for these tournaments is something that we can do as we start to really sponsor these different arenas. And like these are globally ranked tournaments, right? Which means when we talk about scalability and the idea of really bringing the masses into Web3, it's a strong vehicle for us, right? Because we really see that brands are a familiar item for people. They have the scalability, they have like the globality, they have the resources to really help us to help on that mission, right? That mission and that vision that we all should have within Web3, which is trying to onboard the masses.
Right. I love that 3-minute pitch. And what's interesting and where my mind immediately goes is my assumption is this tournament function. Are you able, in essence, as a owned startup within InBev, to be able to shop these tournament ideas to InBev's brands?
Yeah. So I mean, so InBev has like 600 brands underneath us,
Right.
maybe even more brands that I don't even know that we
It's
have.
insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we work with non-alcoholic brands because this is a game that is open to all.
Okay.
It's not that this is a game for kids, but we also don't want to have to age gate this game at any point, right? So it's
Got it.
really working with the
Makes
non-alcoholic
sense.
brands. And we have huge non-alcoholic brands underneath us as well. Huge global non-alc brands. So we do have the ability to work with our brands, and we have actually announced some partnerships with our own brands. particularly in LATAM. So we have partnered with Pony Malta. They have a whole gaming ecosystem in Colombia. We partnered with Guaraná Antarctica. That's the biggest soft drink in Brazil by quite a long way. Um, so yes, we are leveraging our own brands, and crucially, we're also leveraging external brands as well. Right? We see this as really a way that we can start to onboard
Yeah.
other brands into the space, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things about being a brand, and I can say this from experience and what we've seen within AB InBev is it's difficult to enter the Web3 space. Like if you don't know how to do it,
Right.
um, A, there is quite a chance that you might get it wrong. And B, it's difficult. Like it's a completely different language that you need to speak. And to some of the things that we talked about in the Web3 space, by doing these tournaments, we're able to give a vehicle for these brands and these Web2 companies to really start to move into this Web3 space, right? Like sponsor a tournament, get involved in a tournament, understand the audience that you're working with, start to understand gamers. What is the value proposition here, right?
Right.
So it gives a vehicle for Web2 into Web3.
Yeah, and I think, what's brilliant about this and that I have not seen yet is you are the billion-dollar company, but yet you've treated an NFT project like a startup, which it should be. That let's be honest, an NFT is a startup. It's a different way. It's a new form of a Kickstarter in essence as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you're now then going to be able to have this conversation immediately with your own brands, but then also have that web 2 to web 2 conversation to say, hey, this shit is possible. We just did it,
Yeah.
and here's how we did it. And that is the conversations between narratives like this, and then when the Amazons of the world just immediately expose 300 million people to hitting a couple buttons, you got a crypto wallet and using your credit card. That's more of on the technology side, right? That's what's going to evolve this space. We could sit here all day and argue whether we're going to like it or not, because I think it's a very magical time right now. But I think this is the first time I've actually heard a Web 2 brand doing it the right way. Maddie, what are your thoughts?
Well, I certainly think it's being done the correct way given the brand and given what you have. Like for example, when you said stage 3 with the tournaments, right? If this was just Crypto Titans and I had no idea what the association was, my hesitancy would be, okay, well, it's easy to say tournaments, but having put on events, it's hard, right? And you're right, finding sponsors and finding the right kind of companies that want to be involved in something like that is very difficult. But when it's already under an umbrella and you can establish some credibility there, that's a vastly different proposition, right? And so now all of a sudden, what you said was stage 3 with tournaments, what would have been something that would have caused hesitation for me is actually one of the things I think is the most exciting part about the project, because when you talk about a prize pool, that's going to be the easy part, right? I mean, being able to put something together, which immediately creates value to want to have one of these, right? Because it's like, what am I going to win if I go to some generic project that's doing a play to earn or play to win, whatever it might be, game, but there's no backing. They're just making an empty promise somewhere in the future there will be utility. This is just very different, and I think it adds a level of credibility.
Yeah.
So I think for what it is, it's being very it's put together in a very smart way.
Yeah, ads. What are your any thoughts around this conversation?
No, I mean, I'm glad that that's coming across, right? Because we really thought about this strategy,
Yeah,
and what we wanted to offer to the community.
yeah,
Something that we've changed with Crypto Titans is like our fundamental offering of what we want to do. Um, when we first started with Crypto Titans, it was actually a play to earn game. Right? We wanted people to be rewarded for doing something that they enjoy. Right? So we wanted people to be essentially paid for gaming. Right?
Yeah.
Um, like we made the decision to move away from play to earn um, around about May, and we made that decision because we were seeing some things in the market that we didn't agree with, right? In terms of like sustained value
Right.
to the holders, right, of tokens. And we just felt we can't launch something into the market or game with tokenomics behind it that we do not stand by 100%, right? That's
Yeah,
just not
you got
something
to
that
be an expert in tokenomics to actually
yeah.
make it work, right?
You know, as a team, we were like, first of all, we just did not feel qualified to make the right decisions
Right,
around
right,
tokenomics.
right.
Right.
And then, you know, even bringing in other people, we didn't feel that the decision was like right to even do it, right? It was very difficult. We felt to do it.
Yep.
So we just kind of took it off the table, right? Of like, okay, let's not focus on trying to sustain the value of a token. Let's actually, first of all, like build a good game, right? And focus on like what problem are we solving here with this game? And the problem that we're solving with the game is around ownership, right? That was it. That's why we're building it in the first place. Okay, so let's attach the value of this game to the actual ownership, right? The problem solver. So that's why we shifted to play to own. So everything within the game itself is about like play the game, right? Like level up your Titan, get more assets for your Titan. The assets that you win within the game, you earn them. You don't buy them. You
Yeah.
earn them through playing, right? So
Yeah.
it's like get skilled within crypto Titans, increase the value of your Titan, use your Titan to be able to enter tournaments and have access to these prize pools, right? That you wouldn't have access to before.
Right.
And that's how you earn, right? That's the value that we bring there.